Folks, this is Jerry Wexler out of Beverly Hills. Jerry's been in the mortgage business for a long, long time. And Jerry,
40 years.
40 years. 40 years. Man, oh man, you don't sound that old, Jerry. Tell me about, we've talked about this before. What do you do to help a homeowner get rid of their second mortgage?
Well, as a result of the economy today, most homeowners are underwater with their homes, unfortunately. But the banks, and everybody sees it on the radio, or sees it on television, or reads it in the newspaper, the banks are also underwater. And the second mortgages that they made a few years ago have no equity and so forth, and they need to turn these into cash. So the law firm, for about a year and a half, based on the economy, has been working on a program whereby they work with the banks in order to settle out these second mortgages at large discounts, some as large as some only at 10 or 15 cents on the dollar, which gives the homeowner a chance who is underwater by getting and eliminating the second completely to now have equity. They go from a non-equity position to an equity position.
And the banks go along with this. They don't have I don't see why the banks wouldn't be fighting this more.
Most of the banks like it because they want to get rid of the loans. They really don't feel that in the long run, with the economy the way it is today and the way it looks for the future, the banks don't feel that they can collect on these mortgages 100 cents on the dollar. So they'd rather take what they can now, get it off the books, because the servicing and the watching over all of these loans is very labor intensive, and they don't want these loans, so they would rather take some money right now and write off the rest, and that's it.
Okay. Well, I was wondering now, since banks are always the evil guys, can they come after the homeowner for the money? No?
No, because the settlement sheet shows that this is a payment in full. As an example, if you have a $100,000 mortgage and they settle it for $10,000, they have issued on their stationery a demand, what is called a demand letter, that says that for the amount agreed upon, which in this example would be $10,000, they will eliminate the mortgage and release the property completely, which means it's paid in full.
Okay, paid in full. Now, what does this do to the person's credit?
Good question. It does two things. Number one, it will show that that the loan was paid off and settled for an amount less than the amount that was originally owed. So the credit score naturally will go down a little bit, showing that something was paid off in full. But the thing that sort of equalizes it out is the fact that there's one less payment, so that the debt-to-income ratios go up a little bit if they have a mortgage, and let's say the payment is $400 or $500, as an example. Their debt-to-income ratio will go up because they've gotten rid of that payment.
Okay, makes sense.
Now, tax-wise, in 2007. There was a debt relief thing that went through the IRS, where if this settles out, there is no tax no tax owed. Most people, when they settle their credit cards or do other things, they get a bill from the IRS. It's asset enhancement and forgiveness of debt. When you're dealing with your home and you're dealing with the real estate, there's a form that's filled out, and there's no tax problems.
Now, can someone do this on an investment property, or is this only on their primary residence?
They can do it on the investment property. The office has done quite a few investment properties, but as far as the tax relief, they'd have to check with their own accountant to figure it out. Generally speaking, there is no tax problem.
So if there is a tax issue, they would then be 1099, the difference that there was, the 1099, the relief amount?
No, because there's a form that they filled out. There's a form that they will fill out to attach it to the tax form, which will show that there is no tax benefit. But we recommend that people go to their own tax people and so forth and so on. But the issue is this. If you have a $100,000 second mortgage, as an example, and we're doing some where people have second mortgages for 800, 900,000 and more. But if you have, using the example of 100,000, if you can settle that for $10,000 or $15,000 and build equity in the property, and it's what we call our equity builder program, and it's and now you've gotten rid of $85,000 or $90,000 worth of debt. The rest of it is meaningless. The main thing is you've gotten rid of that amount of debt, and that mortgage is not on the house anymore.
Okay, makes good sense. That's great. Let me ask you another one. Can the consumer just do this on their own?
They can try. They can't do them themselves. They can try to do it. There's a lot of people that end up coming to us that they've tried to do it on their own. The issue is if they don't know how to package it, they don't know how to work with the bank, and they don't even know what department to deal with the bank. And they have, and the bank has clerks that tell people things. They send in their necessary paperwork, and they could be sending it to the wrong department. It's like they've always said that a lawyer who represents himself has a fool for a client. This is the same thing here. This has to be done on a professional basis. We're not talking about pennies, and it has to be done with banks that we know that will cooperate with us, that have done it before, and we know which department to go to and where the paperwork should go and how it should be handled.
Okay. Now, Jerry, my experience here in Las Vegas with short sales is they can take a long time. They could take 6, 7, 8, 9 months and never get done. How long is the process typically on these?
Typically 90 days or less.
Really? Wow.
Well, the bank wants them. It boils down, Ellie, to one thing. The bank wants the money. They don't want the loan on the books. They want the cash. The banks need cash, and they don't want to service the account. They don't want it, and within reason, some have been settled in as little as 30 days, but that's not the norm, and I wouldn't tell anybody that.
Interesting, because the banks, this is, I guess, another way for them to prevent some of these, we were just talking about earlier, strategic foreclosures.
Absolutely. It doesn't appear that the economy is going to make a strong upswing within a period of time. And the banks, they're smart. They're very smart. They look at all of these loans that are on the books. They have people analyze them in packages in large amounts, and they look at them, and they have a degree and figure out the percentage of loans that will go bad within a particular period of time. And what may be a good loan today, they're looking at 3, 4, 5 months down, taking into consideration the homeowner is sitting there and they're saying, well, why am I paying on this? I have no equity. Every check that I send isn't doing anything for me. So the banks figure the homeowner at a time will change their mind, which they do in droves nationwide.
Oh yeah, we're seeing that all the time. We see here in Las Vegas a lot. I'm sure you're seeing it in Beverly Hills too.
We see it in the whole Los Angeles area. You mentioned Beverly Hills. We signed up some people where they have second mortgages of 700, 800, 900,000, even $1 million, and we're working with these people to get them settled on these big houses. But this is a nationwide program. We're also doing business with people who have $30,000 and $40,000 second mortgages in other areas. This isn't confined to one group of people. It's good for everybody because they're all underwater.
Oh, it is a mess. There's no question about that. No question about that. And I'm sure you'd have no problem if someone gave you a buzz and had some questions. Huh, Jerry?
The website explains just about everything. It even gives examples of what loans have been settled, showing the paperwork from the banks. So the credibility of what is done is beyond reproach.
All right, the proof is in the pudding.
There's testimonials, and it also shows exactly how the banks handle it.
All right, great.
And it's the professionalism of the law firm that has been doing this and developed this program.
Well, Jerry, thank you again very much for taking the time. Sure appreciate it.
Ellie, I appreciate the call, and I wish everybody the best.
Good. Thanks, Jerry. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.